Well, well, well. Welcome back. This is sort of impromptu. Um, I was not expecting to do this live tonight, to be honest with you. I did one last night. Hopefully, you guys will go and check that one out where I discussed what did I talk about last night? Anyway, go check it out. Whatever it is, whatever it was that I was doing, go check it out. But tonight, one of the reasons why I probably can't remember very well what we talked about last night, and it'll come to me, obviously. I'm an old man. But one of the reasons why I can't remember very well is because this topic that we're going to discuss tonight is so much of a change up. It's so different, and it's even though it's going to appear out of line, it is actually very well aligned with the continuation of the conversation about black community, black empowerment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I'm very excited to have this discussion with you about cleanliness, about hygiene. And it's not exactly what you think it's going to be. Trust me. Right. Um, this is going to be a first principles exploration. I think that's how I titled it. A first principles exploration. Say that 20 times straight, 20 times fast, right? But it basically, have you ever stopped to truly question why cleanliness even matters? Like if we set aside all of the assumptions and the cliches and dive right into what it means, what does it mean? Is it just soap and water? Or neatly folded laundry, or a perfectly organized shelf? What is it really? Why does it exist? And how does it impact our lives, or how might it inform our movement, right? Or our movements, or our progress, or our learning, our becoming. So I'd like to kind of unpack that and discuss why maybe cleanliness has been revered, how it has been pedestalized in many cultures, right? Almost all cultures, right? Universally across all cultures, it's kind of been placed on a pedestal, right? Spiritual traditions have cited it as an important thing. People get baptized in Christianity. All of those things involve water. They involve cleaning. So I'd like to kind of unpack that and dig a little deeper, and explore this together with you guys step by step, right? Excuse me. I did bring some tea tonight, but sorry about that. At the most fundamental level, right? What exactly is cleanliness? Is it about removing dirt? I would say it's far more than that, right? It's far more than removing dirt. Is it about eliminating pollutants and contamination, pathogens, toxins, harmful agents that, undermine our health and well-being? Yeah, it's about that. But I think one of the things to kind of think about would be, what is dirt, filth, pollution? A lot of times we see those as surface level annoyances, right? Things that profoundly interfere with the intended purpose and the optimal functioning of things. And I think that is exactly what dirt, pollution, contamination, this is one of the reasons why we need to clear things. We need to be clean. So imagine, if you will, a polluted river. Its capacity to sustain life, to supply clean water to the community, to supply a healthy environment for the fish, to support agriculture, is severely compromised when it's polluted, right? And I think in the same way, contamination within our bodies, our minds, our environments, our relationships, Our children, our experiences creates dysfunction. It's the source of dysfunction, the source of disorder, and it impairs our physical health and disrupts a certain level of environmental balance, even if it is a dirty person, right? So historically, spiritual traditions have sort of emphasized rituals of purification, precisely because they understood that cleanliness restores order and ensures everything achieves its intended purpose effectively, as I said before. By consciously maintaining physical cleanliness, we actively remove these obstructions. We support our health. We not only support our individual health, but we support the health of people around us. We become a beacon or a means or a way for other people to enjoy the benefits of cleanliness, right? To enjoy the benefits which would be supporting having good health or prosperity or achieving a certain amount of balance. Yet, I think what we miss a lot of times is that cleanliness is not limited to the external environment, right? On a deeper internal level, cleanliness symbolizes purity of intention and mental clarity, right? Emotional contamination, resentment, envy, bitterness, unresolved anger. These things pollute our inner world. And you can see this in many cases when someone sullies the reputation of another individual, or someone robs a certain individual of their maybe their virginity, or which would be we associate with purity, but they rob them of their purity. They rob them of their cleanliness. They sully them. They dirty them. And in so doing, like I said before, it creates a sort of like bitterness and a resentment, and it reduces or limits severely the capacity for a person's happiness and peace. Some of us have experienced that, right? Emotional pollution is subtle, yet in many ways it can be very insidious, right? Building up quietly and leading to internal chaos and stress. From a first principle standpoint, though, spiritual and emotional cleanliness involves consciously identifying and confronting and cleansing these negative emotions. Practicing forgiveness, empathy, gratitude, and self-awareness systematically removes these internal pollutants, strengthening our mental resilience and enhancing emotional clarity. All right, this inner purity, I would say, deeply impacts our well-being. How clear we are of past mistakes, how clear we are of resentment, how clear we are of problems within our family, generational curses. All of these things are like dams that are broken that allow the water or the river to just flow freely, right? And so when this happens, it just allows our lives to be more harmonious, to be fuller, right? It allows us to live fuller. So, taking these foundational ideas even deeper, let's explore relational cleanliness, particularly when we talk about the modern notion of body count. Yes, body count. One thing about dirt, like the dirtier you are, sorry about that. It almost insinuates subtly that there is an accumulation, a larger amount, a bigger pile of things that are on top of you, that have covered you, that have kind of blinded the world from seeing who you really are. And so body count in many respects is seen this way, even though we don't look at it this way. We don't talk about it or speak about it this way. But body count is very much, very much that. It's a type of accumulation of energy or dirt or pollutants or contamination. At least that's the way it's viewed. Right? So, when we examine intimacy through first principles, we find that it's never truly casual. It's almost impossible when you approach it from a hygienic standpoint. It's almost impossible. And we're not just talking about, again, we're not talking about physical. Some things you can never wash off, right? It's on the historic, kind of like Akashic, however you want to look at it. It's on that record, right? So intimacy, whenever you're intimate, it's an exchange of emotional and spiritual energy. And each intimate relationship, it leaves behind an emotional residue. Residue is a type of dirt, if you want to think of it that way. It's something left over from an experience or a moment of contact with something else in space, right? But it's supposed to be gone. That's why it's left over. You can't get rid of it. And so residue relates to reside. It lives there now. And although it is there, it is invisible in some ways. It's still deeply influential. It still has an impact, and it still shapes the future relationships and the emotional states that one might have, whether it be male or female, right? I think one of the weird things about body count is that a lot of people often think that body count is something that impacts women more. In some ways, maybe emotionally it may, but it doesn't change the fact that you are still in some way, just as dirty as a man would be considered. You're just as dirty as the woman might be, right? You're just as sullied. If we're going to categorize people that way, it's no different for a man than it would be a woman, just from an energetic standpoint, right? Without conscious effort to address these emotional remnants, right? Our emotional landscape can become cluttered. It becomes confused. It becomes complex. And this is not about moralizing or judging past behaviors as much as it is about simply recognizing an energetic and emotional signature that has been left behind. This is just the truth, right? So achieving relational cleanliness involves mindful, intentional approaches to intimacy, right? It means being very intentional about who you're going to mess around with. See how I did that? Mess. Who are you going to involve yourself with? Who are you going to mix with? Whose energy are you going to mesh with? And what is that going to mean? What is that going to do to you in the future? What is it going to mean for your future? Do you know? Well, I don't know if I should share all of this stuff, but I will say this. I had a teacher, right? And this teacher, I'm giving all the juice, I guess, but I had a teacher, and this teacher was a strange guy, but this teacher could not use a public urinal. Okay. He was not allowed to, based upon certain things and practices that he'd been through. Right. If he used a public urinal, he would lose his blessing in life. In some way, it would sully him to the point where his blessing would leave him. Prosperity, whatever it is, however you want to see it, his fortune, it would escape him in that moment. So he had to only use the bathroom in places where only he used the bathroom, or out in nature somewhere. And he followed this rule to a T, right? And you got to understand, like, emotional bonds, right? They have a profound significance. They have a profound significance in your life. So you have to consciously ensure that things are clear, that there's clarity, that there's emotional health, and that there's genuine connection. I brought up that teacher only because, at the moment I was just thinking, this is how deep cleanliness and hygiene can be. Most people would never think it that way. But, if we were to extend even further the exploration outward, right? Let's consider environmental and community cleanliness from a first principle standpoint, right? Have you ever noticed how clean spaces naturally feel more calming and uplifting, right? They have a certain kind of gravitational pull. And I will tell you, as I told my daughters, and maybe if you get this far in the live and you find this interesting, what I'm about to say, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do a live on it. But a pull is the very essence. Things that pull are the very essence of femininity. Okay? And I can go deeper into that. And cleanliness is one of those things. Cleanliness actually attracts dirt. Cleanliness actually attracts things. It actually pulls things toward it. Any of you who've tried to keep a space clean, you know how difficult it can be, right? Because cleanliness fundamentally represents order. It represents harmony. It represents mutual respect, right? So a clean, organized environment isn't just aesthetically pleasing, as we like to think, right? That's surface level, but it significantly reduces mental and emotional stress, which fosters individual well-being and collective harmony. Right? There's just so much more, so much less anxiety and worry in a space that's clear, that's clean. My kids often leave toys out in the recreation room in my basement, and they like to put the toys in the path. And I always warn them, like, look, I can't get through here. And imagine if somehow we have a power outage, right? And my kids leave all these toys in the way, and I got to come down somehow down to the basement and check some things out. And I'm tripping over things. I break my leg because the path wasn't clear. It was obstructed, and it disallowed me from reaching my destination in the way that I should, right? So cleanliness in public spaces, in homes, and places of worship, they symbolize a type of care, a type of dignity, a type of respect. And when this is happening, right, it strengthens social connections. It fosters a certain type of resilience and enhances the collective spirit. By maintaining environmental cleanliness, we contribute directly to creating thriving and supportive communities built on mutual respect and collective harmony. Now, how might cleanliness matter in our movement? Well, did I put it away? Well, let me see. I might have a book here. I had a book. I don't have it with me, but there was something called the Million Family March. I thought I had the book. Like I said, this was unplanned, but there's something called the Million Family March that was put on by the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Probably, I don't want to get the date wrong. Maybe 2017. I can't remember. But they always give out a national review. In this booklet, they talked about the meaning or the purpose of the march itself. And that particular march was built on the idea of atonement. Okay? The idea of atonement. atonement is a type of cleanliness. It's a type of clearing, right? Where we come in and we try and remove whatever obstructions are keeping us from agreeing, whatever obstructions are keeping us from moving forward, from progressing. I think the idea was that there were things that were in our way that kept us from being successful, that were keeping us from being successful. And so we needed to have this march as a family. You know, we had fathers who had not been a part of their children's lives. We had mothers who had been, maybe who had ran the fathers off. We had children who had been molested. We had people who had been raped. We had all types of things and atrocities that had happened in our community in the modern day community that needed to be atoned for, right? And this was a way of us trying to clear the way so that we could move forward, so that those obstructions, those things in the pathway that we might trip over and hurt ourselves would be removed and we could flow freely through that space. So I bring all of that up with cleanliness because it is important. These are things that we've tried to do before. These are things that we're maybe not actively trying to do now, but we probably should revisit. We probably should revisit some of these things. I would tell one more story. No, I won't tell a story. What I will do is I will refer to another idea or play that another teacher of mine gave me a long time ago. And it is the play, The Imprisonment of Obatala. The Imprisonment of Obatala. And in that play, you will understand the importance of cleanliness. It discusses the importance of cleanliness because in that play, Obatala, who is, he's an Orisha, but he is supposed to always be clean and wear white. And he left his house and he was unclean. And so no one could recognize him as such because he was out of character. So there you have it. Cleanliness explored from a first principles standpoint. And like I said, it goes beyond tidiness. It encompasses physical health, emotional clarity, relationships, the depth to which we can achieve in a relationship, and communal harmony, community harmony. Sorry. I think when we intentionally embrace cleanliness in all these dimensions, we not only elevate our lives, but also positively influence those around us. It makes for a much more wholesome environment for everyone. So I would like for you who are watching this, if you get this far, to take a moment today to reflect deeply about this. You know, which area of your life could benefit from greater cleanliness, right? A little higher level of hygiene. I know you're brushing your teeth, I hope. I know you're washing your butt crack, I hope. But beyond that, what can you do to keep the space clean? Oh, and by the way, one other thing I'd like to interject. There's a reason why witches always have brooms. I'll just leave that right there. So apply these fundamental principles intentionally and witness the transformative power that they hold. Okay? Looks like we had a few people chime in. Did I get any chats? No, I didn't get any chats. But until next time, stay consciously and purposefully clean in every meaningful way. Peace.